What's up, friends? Happy Monday mindset, and I am really excited for today's video because I wanted to share something with you guys that really transformed me and my wife, Dr. Monica's life several years ago when we started embarking on this journey of self-growth and healing and really maximizing our life in every area of our life. And we came across a book that was titled The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks. Now, I'll kind of give you a backstory of why I want to talk about this and then dive into that book. This weekend, Monica and I, starting on Friday morning, all the way through Saturday and Sunday, we probably had one of the greatest weekends we've ever had in our entire lives. It was jam-packed, full of fun, full of all the things that we love to do, and everything was working out really amazing. And it was funny because on Saturday afternoon, Monica had mentioned to me, she's like, I almost feel guilty that we're having this much fun. And we talked about it, and we went back to several years ago when we first read The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks. And there's a concept that this psychotherapist, Gay Hendricks, talked about. Is called our upper limit. And we have this upper limit problem. He talks about, and it makes so much sense today, that we have this certain level of happiness that we believe as human beings we're allowed to have, whether that was imprinted into us as children, or we just believed it somewhere along the way, that we can only have so much good, so much happiness in our life before it all kind of crumbles. And what happens is, at a subconscious or even conscious level, we sometimes self-sabotage our happiness, self-sabotage the situations and people and places and things that are happening in our life to bring us back down to where we believe we should be. And this looks many different ways. I remember, when I was a former baseball player, I was a pitcher, and I would be doing really amazing for 3, 4, 5 innings. No one could touch me. I was throwing strikes left and right. They were barely hitting the ball. I was striking everyone out. And then all of a sudden, in the 5th, 6th inning, I'd get in my own head. I'm like, oh, I'm having a really good game. And all of a sudden, I couldn't throw a strike. And I throw 12 straight balls, walk the bases loaded, and I had to be pulled out of the game. That happened to me several times in my careers, and that's happened to many athletes in different ways or shapes. The kicker that makes every kick, and then that big moment, he self-sabotages himself, and he misses the kick, and it's like crazy, right? So this happens in many different ways. It happens in sports. It happens with relationships. Relationship is going really well, and all of a sudden you pick a fight with your loved one, and then out of nowhere you go from extreme bliss to want to rip each other's heads off. Me and Monica has had that plenty of times in the past before, where we noticed it and we realized we were upper limiting ourselves. It's the person, maybe work is going really well and they sabotage a project or something. They botch a job where they knew what they had to do. Also the people that have a big event coming up, or a big interview, or something that's going to really move their life forward, and they get sick the day before, right? So there's many different examples of our upper limits that prevent us from going to that next step and that next level of happiness. And I want to share with you just 3 quick things on really how you can begin changing that, and how you can begin pushing past that glass ceiling, because it's not a ceiling that's concrete. It's a ceiling that's made of glass, and it's our preconceived notions, our beliefs on what's possible for our life. That's that ceiling when we keep rising up. But really, it's just made of glass, and we just have to kind of push through that to be able to get to that next joy, next happiness, and that next level of our life, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. So the very first step of when you find yourself approaching an upper limit, or things are going really well in your life, and all of a sudden everything gets derailed, and you realize, why the heck did that happen? It was kind of almost self-imposed. Why did I do that? Why did I say that? Why did I act that way? The first step is awareness. The first step is being really honest and true with yourself. And, whether that's just internally, or maybe sharing with a family member or friend, of letting someone know, or letting yourself know, man, life was going really well, and then I did this. That was really silly. That was really not so smart. But you know what? I don't want to do that anymore. So I'm going to acknowledge it. I'm going to be aware of my pattern. And so that way, next time I do it, I can be a little bit more aware, and I can not react in the same way, and I can just be a little bit quicker to recognize the faults that I'm doing, so that way I can get right back into my joy, right back in my happiness. Yesterday, or a couple days ago, yesterday, when we were having a really great time, Monica had said, man, I almost feel bad about this. And then we just talked about it, like, why should we feel bad? We are having an amazing and great time, and this is what we're meant to do. And so very quickly we recognized it, and we got right back into having such an awesome weekend with our friends and family. And the second step is to fully embrace the knowing and understanding that you are worthy of all the joy and all the goodness and all the healing and all the health and all the abundance that you desire. We have this preconceived notion that we live in a world and universe that is kind of like a pie, where there's only so much of the pie to give out to other people. But we live in a very expansive and abundant universe where there is plenty and enough for everyone. Yes, there's those physical things, but also our joy and happiness and bliss. It is unequivocally unable to be measured how much we can have that joy and how much we can have that love in our life. So, for me, it's always about continuing to try to push those limits, to push the joy and push the happiness. And sometimes it's unconscious, but a lot of times in the beginning, you have to really work on consciously living in that joy till eventually you just realize this is my new normal and this is what I want to continue to grow, because the more connected and joyful that I am, the more love I emanate out to other people as well. And that's really when we make a huge difference, not only in our life, but the life of others. And the third one that I'll share with you guys is continue to be persistent in really acknowledging that, you have these upper limits. Be persistent in trying to be better and do the self-growth and the self-care, taking care of ourselves. As we know, in 2020, it is more important than ever before in human history to start taking ownership and autonomy of our own life, because we cannot depend on anyone else to make us healthy, for anyone else to give us financial security, for anyone else to create things for our life. We have to take autonomy and connect deeper within who we are to truly transcend those things, so that way we can create the life that we want to live. So with that, persistence, also always remind you guys to have patience. Patience on how things come up in our life, patience on how things manifest, but also patience and kindness with yourself when you have a little bit of a backslide, when you hit that resistance of the upper limit and it's a little bit uncomfortable. Make sure, again, persistence, keep moving forward, but be patient, be kind, and continue to love yourself. So I hope you guys enjoy this wonderful Monday, the wonderful rest of this week, and we will see you guys next week.